Hey everyone, this is Kyle, and right now it's about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm about to set off for what is at least a 15-hour drive from Springfield, Missouri to Toronto, Ontario. So I thought I'd take you along with me. I think I'm ready for the long drive ahead of me, so let's go. Alright, so if you've never used GasBuddy before, it's actually really helpful, and it's changed a lot over the years, which has been for the better. So right now I'm actually parked, so you can't really see it, but it has the distances to different locations. And it used to be, back in the day, that these wouldn't really update unless you refresh the app. Now they refresh as you're driving every so often so that you can tell whether or not you're going the right direction. So as you can see, these are both pretty close, but obviously I went for the 190 at Casey's, which I am actually at right now. And then you can see the last time a price was updated, because this is all crowdsourced, so there's a chance that it might be wrong, but in this case it was actually right, and you can actually verify that. You can go and report prices, or it actually asked me when I pulled up whether they were right, and I confirmed that they were. So again, just really easy to use and really helpful. And it also, when you first log in, it'll show you like a range of kind of the lowest and highest prices. So I could have held out and gone for $1.85 at a Circle K, or could have got stuck with 221. So I figured 190 was a good mid-range about where I wanted to stop. So. Alright, so after a long day of driving, I have finally arrived in Toronto, Ontario, and it was actually not that bad of a drive, honestly. Like, even though it was definitely long, it kind of went by fairly quickly. The hardest part was this was the first time I'd ever driven past a border instead of landing at an airport and going through immigration and customs. It's also the first time I've driven outside the United States, so I was a little bit nervous going in, but that was only because I didn't know the process, and now I kind of do. I'd say the only difference between this and going through like an airport immigration stop is that, first of all, you're driving, and so you're handing them your passport through the window and everything. But also, I felt like they asked a few more questions. Of course, they asked the basics, like why I was visiting, but then they even went into the history of like how I know this friend that I'm visiting. So I thought that was a little strange, but maybe not out of line, just to check your responses. I also thought they went a little bit more in depth with what they were asking you as far as what you were bringing in. For example, they asked if I was bringing any mace or pepper spray, which I assume you're not allowed to bring in, but luckily I didn't have any, so not a problem there. I think the weirdest part about driving here, though, is that you have to use kilometers per hour instead of miles per hour, so you have to use that like little inner part of your speedometer. And also why it's kind of cool to go 100, you realize it's only 60 miles per hour, and then it's not so exciting anymore. In fact, that's actually the top speed I saw was 100, so the entire time I'm only going about 60. Eventually I sped up to 110 because I felt like everyone was flying by me. And also, even though it seems like I'm doing 10 over, I'm really only doing like 6 over, so that's totally okay, right? A couple funny things happened on the way here. When I stopped for my first fill up, I went to go grab the nozzle, and I don't know why, but for some reason I think that if they have diesel, it's going to be a green nozzle, like that's usually how it is. So instinctively I go for the opposite one, which was a black one, and then I go and can't figure out why the nozzle won't fit in my gas tank, and then I realized that that's because that was the diesel one. The other thing was I thought for a minute that I forgot my water, and I did, but thankfully my wife put the case in the back of the car for me ahead of time, so everything was good there. Alright, so after a long day, I think that's about it for me, so I'm going to steal a trick I learned from watching Mikey Chen and say good night. So right now we're at the Casa Loma, which
in addition to being just a Toronto landmark and tourist attraction, is actually where they shot part of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which is one of my favorite movies.
Can I have your autograph, please?
So naturally we had to come take a look.
Alright, so after 5 days, another long drive, I have now returned home to Springfield, and I have to say, I really didn't spend that much. I'm kind of proud of myself. So first off, I ended up stopping 5 times for gas, and each time I had about a quarter tank left, so I only spent about $100. One of the times was actually in Canada, so I got to fill up in liters instead of gallons, so it was a little bit more expensive, but all in all, still came in at about under $100 for all 5 times. I was also looking over my list of items here that I spent money on as far as entertainment, and surprisingly it totals up to about $60 Canadian, which is only $50 American. Now, to be fair, some of these were kind of cheating because my friend had connections through her job, and we got special discounts that not everyone could take advantage of, but the other ones are open to the public. For example, that hour-long boat cruise we took around Lake Ontario only cost us $12 per person Canadian, so probably about $10 American, a little less. Additionally, while we got 2-for-1 tickets for Second City because of my friend's job, she says that there's actually student discounts for like $5, I think she said, that you can get in sometimes, so that's something to look out for if you're a student. And since I planned my visit around the Canada 150 celebration, we got to go to that free B&L show.
Oh, okay, they're B&L now. We need a shorthand for the bare naked ladies. That's how fundamental they are.
Fundamental.
Yeah.
Which was open to the public and was a lot of fun. Incidentally, the most expensive thing on the list that we did was the Blue Jays game, because even though we were way up in the nosebleed sections, we did pay full price, so that was $25 Canadian per person. Still not that bad, but still the most expensive chunk of the money we spent. Now, I didn't keep very good tabs on how much I spent on food, but I did use my coupons on the road, so that saved me a good amount of money. And also, while we were there, we didn't really do any fancy table service, and my friend treated me to a couple of things before I had any Canadian cash on me. So I think all in all, I really spent probably maybe just around $50 for the 5 days, which sounds really low, but I swear we really didn't, must not have eaten that much. And we also had a lovely dinner at her parents' house, which they made for us. So that also helped save a few dollars. So when you consider gas, food, lodging, since my friend let me stay with her for free, and entertainment, I really only spent around $200 for a 5-day vacation. So yeah, I'm definitely counting this one as a win. So thanks for following along on my Toronto road trip. The next big road trip we have planned is actually a 24-hour marathon drive straight through to California to run a half marathon, incidentally. And this will be like the 3rd or 4th time we do that. So I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about then. So until that time, see you later.